today on expressing your interest to work together with the Water and Energy for Food program, especially for the MENA region. My name is Michael Kropak. I'm the co-director of CEWAS, one of the implementing partners of this regional hub. And I will guide you today through this webinar. Just a couple of points before we start. So again, please keep yourself muted so we can all understand what is being said. And if you have questions, what I would suggest, since we are many people, we are at the moment 55 participants here. So please, if you have any questions, write them into the chat, and my colleague Hannah will then read them out at the end of the session, and we can see and we will try to answer all of your questions that you will write into the chat. So if you have any questions, please write them into the chat. We will we'll have a look at them, and then we will try to make it that all of them are being answered. Okay, then today with me on this webinar are two important people. On one hand, we have Constantin Salamé. He's our head of the investment readiness team of the We4Food program for the MENA region. And we also have Sabine Saliba. She is the investment manager of our regional innovation hub. And they both will speak after me once I have given you a short introduction. What is the objective for today? So we're of course very happy that we have that much interest for this webinar here. But what we want to do today is really three things. So we want to give you a short introduction about the We4F program, what it is all about. Then Constantin will explain you how we have selected the current innovators, the current batch that we have, and he will actually start giving you a glimpse on who's in our portfolio, who are our stars of the program, of course, the innovators themselves. And then Sabine will continue, and she will also tell you at the end how you can get engaged with the We4F program as an investor or as a partner to really support those innovators onto their journey to create impact at a larger scale. And again, if you have questions, please write them into the chat. So let me start with the introduction. So what's the We4F program? Now, the We4F program is a multi-donor program that is really carried out and has been founded by a number of different partners. On the one hand, the German Corporation for Development, we have the European Union, we have the government of the Netherlands, the Swedish government, and last but not least, USAID. That means the US government that are actually running this program together. The program is a global program. So we have in total 5 regions where the program is active. And today we will be looking mainly on the MENA region. This is the region where we are responsible for and where we want to talk about a bit more in details. Now, let us quickly have a look at geographical scope. Now, the We4F program for the MENA region is active in 10 countries. You can see them here shaded in this dark green. It starts with Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt, Sudan, Palestine, Lebanon, Jordan, Iraq, and Yemen. Now, at the moment, we have selected already a number of innovators. We have at the moment 16 innovators in our portfolio, and most of them are actually at the moment coming from Egypt, from Lebanon, and from Jordan. But there will be a second intake coming in soon, and here we are expecting some more innovators from the different countries, such as Algeria, Morocco, and so on, to be onboarded to the program. Now, what is the We4F program all about, right? So We4F stands for water and energy for food, right? So we are really working in the water and energy food nexus. That means all innovators that are in our portfolio, they have to do either something with water and food, energy, food, or all three elements together. What does that mean? It really means that our innovators are trying to reduce water consumption in the whole food value chain. They're trying to reduce emissions. They are trying to reduce food waste or to make more efficient processes in the whole food value chain. And this, of course, has all an effect on our ability to adapt to the climate crisis and to adapt to the climate that we're all in right now in the middle. Very important is also the whole ESG aspects, right? Our innovators, they all have to fulfill pretty strict environmental, social, and governance criteria to be a part of that program. And the most important thing is all innovators that we are working with, they should really create large-scale impact here. We're not talking just about a few hundreds. We're not talking about startups here. We're talking about grown-up enterprises that can reach out to hundreds of thousands or even millions of customers and beneficiaries in the future. And our program is here so we can really support these innovators to get to that level. So coming from a few thousand to 100,000 or even more beneficiary or customers they can serve in the future. Now, what do we do as a program? Now, our innovators that we support, they benefit on different levels with different services we can provide to them. On one hand, one big carrot is, of course, the grants we can give to those innovators. So we can give out between 25 to 300,000 dollars as grants to those innovators. These grants are mainly to really reduce investment risks and to make those innovators investment ready. The average size, I would say, is between 150 and 200,000 dollars. We have already given out to those innovators, and they're working at the moment based on milestone-based contracts to really improve their operations. And we are trying to make them investment ready at the moment so they can interact, for example, with you if you are interested in the future to work with us. We also do investment readiness and facilitation support. That's the main role of Constantin. He will tell us more about that just in a couple of minutes. We also give out technical assistance. So we're talking here about technical assistance tickets of $20,000 approximately, and it's up to three of those tickets that innovators are entitled to really improve their processes and their operations to be able to scale their innovations in the future. And of course, the team that is behind this regional innovation hub, we have a big network, and we are actually helping all of our innovators to get engaged with different partners and to really enter the markets they want to conquer in the future in the MENA region. Maybe just a couple of words, who's behind the regional innovation hub for the MENA region. So you have seen the slides with the donors, but we also on the operational side, we are 4 partners that are implementing this program. The leading organization is Veritech. It's a Lebanese organization that has supported more than 4,000 enterprises in Lebanon in the last 20 years. We have CEWA's Middle East. That's the organization where I come from. We're focusing on supporting water enterprises in the Middle East and globally, especially in developing countries. We have the International Water Management Institute, and we also have Chemonics Egypt, who have a very big stronghold and expertise in this area in Egypt and all across the MENA region. So that much to the introduction from my side. And as a next step, I would suggest that Constantin tells us a bit more about the whole investment readiness work and how we have proceeded with selecting those innovators and who those innovators are. I think this is, for most of you, most probably the most important, most interesting part. Constantin, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Michael, next slide, please. Very good. Look, first, greetings to all of you. I've seen a number of old friends, so it's great to touch base. We're very excited about this program. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer 3 questions before I pass on to Sabine. And all these questions are around value. The first one is, what is the value that we brought in to the companies that I'll be sharing with you over the past 8 months that we have been working with them? So what is this value that we brought in? The second question is, what is the value that we will bring in to those of you who wants to partner with us and continue this journey working and helping transform and fund these companies? The third one is on the value creation potential of each of the company that we have selected. So the 3 are around value. And as you know, value is not only financial value. The value is really about also in terms of the impact to the environment, in terms of the social value. Michelle is on this call again. She is an expert in trying to help you define what those social value means to a number of these enterprises. And the way we track it, track it through a number of KPIs that we go and take our companies through. So let me start now with the first question, is what is the value that we added to the companies? And the value goes into 3 pillars. The first one, I call it investment readiness. We want to make sure every one of those companies are on the same wavelengths, speak the same language, understand what we mean in terms of financial ratios, in terms of company valuation, in terms of discount cash flow, in terms of whatever you want. We want to make sure everyone is on the same page. And for this, we have a series of webinars, and this is the first pillar. And we've done these webinars on finance fundamentals, on how do you go about determining the value of a company, on how do you develop your cash flow forecast, etc. So all of those are models that have been used across the number of companies that we have been working with over the past year. So this is the first module. The second pillar is taking those, but not doing it on webinar one-on-one. So we have a number of one-on-one sessions with all the companies or most of the companies that are investment ready. And then we see how these templates or these frameworks or these tools need to be applied to the specific needs of the company. And this is very important. This is where a lot of value is created, is through this interchange and this discussion that we have with each one of them. And sometimes it could last for 2 hours, for 3 hours, for 4 hours, depending on what it is. So this is the second pillar, which is a fundamental pillar. The third pillar is on getting them ready to meet with investors and helping them in negotiating with investors. You know, we take those companies, we sit down, help them in negotiating term sheets. Sometimes we disagree with them in terms of valuation or in terms of the terms that they want to use in this term sheet. So this is a long discussions and a round of discussion that takes place with those companies as we take them through. So 3 pillars: investment readiness, investment management, investment brokerage. So this is what we have been doing, and this is what we will do every year for each new wave of companies. And we'll have between 15 to 20 companies every year. So this next slide, please, Michael. Okay, so this is the second question, is what is the value to the investors? And this is an important one that we have. If I have to summarize it, it's basically de-risking those investments for the investors. And the way we de-risk it is through different layers. The first layer is, trust me, we have taken them through a fairly in-depth application process. We have more than 250 applications, and we ended up with 16 companies. And this process is a process that takes time. They have to apply once, then they have to fill a second application, then we meet with them face-to-face and discuss those elements. Before we make it, we have a special board, advisory board, to help us. So it's really a comprehensive exercise that lasts about 3 months to make sure that we select the best companies. So what you end up having is you end up having the best of the best in terms of the companies that have applied to it. So this is what I call the preparing, screening, and making sure that these companies speak and have the same elements in place. So for instance, all of them, or most of those who will be looking for investments, we will make sure that they have their data room prepared, that their audited statements are there, that the financial model is there, that the investment memorandum is there, that their growth opportunities are well documented. So all of those elements are elements that we help them prepare so that the investors don't have to spend a lot of time on it. So this is the first pillar. The second one is that we basically mentioned this in terms of having the documents being ready. So you don't have to go through a full-fledged due diligence. We've done the due diligence. We've done the gap analysis. We've identified those gaps with them. We help them address those gaps together over the past few months that we have. So a lot of this work has been done. The third one on the de-risking is that you want to conduct a certain market study, a certain feasibility study. You want to make sure that there is a certain first-class caution that needs to be implemented. We have, between the grants and between the TAs, technical assistants, the ability to be able to provide you with those without having to charge neither you nor the company that is interested for. So this is the third element. And the fourth element, you become part of our network. Now, Michael has shown several slides, but there are two slides that are critical. The first, you're dealing with 5 donors. These are some of the most respected donors in the world. And you're dealing with four partners that we have, Veritech, Chemonic, Umi, and CWAS behind it. Each one of them have a certain network. You will be part and you'll be accessing this network as a financing partner for this organization. And we will have on an annual basis those demo days to present the companies, to let the companies pitch, and to introduce you to these companies. So these are some of the benefits that we have. And behind all this, we have a team of dedicated investments management. Sabine is there, Joël is there, Suha is there, Nicolas is here. They're all on the call. We have together more than 75 years of experience in funding, scaling SMEs with high innovative potential. So this is the second question. Next slide, please, Michael. The third question is what are the this is basically what are these companies looking. Typically, we're looking at funding ticket size between $500,000 and $5 million. Some of them go up to $10 million, but most of them will be between $500,000 to $5 million. What is the type? Most of them, it's either grants, which we have provided, but it's going to be now more debt. It could be mezzanine debt, and it could be equity. So this is the bulk. We have a few more, but the most important one are around either debts or equity or mezzanine debt that we have. And of course, they're all looking for patient capital. They're looking for companies who are here, investors who are here, not only here for 2 or 3 years, but potentially for 5, 7 years, even more. And most importantly, that bring in a certain strategic value in terms of either sector expertise, network, and others. Next slide, please, Michael. So, what are these companies? So you've been here for, and we made you wait, Michael and I, we've made you wait on it. So this is the list of the companies. Now, if you ask me what these companies have in common, I will tell you 4 things. All of those companies have one dimension of innovation, which for us is critical. And the more innovative these companies are, the more their ability to differentiate is strong, and the more they can sustain this differentiation over time. Very important. The second dimension, all of them are scalable. All of them have either demonstrated or have enough evidence that they can scale. They can scale financially, and they can make sure, and we're not talking 10 to 20% increase, you're really talking multiply by 2, multiply by 3, or even more over the next 3 to 5 years. So they have scalability potential, and most importantly, they all have a tremendous social impact. And the social impact that we track and we measure is not only job creation, is how much are they helping the people below the poverty level. And as you know, not only in Lebanon, but across the region, this level is extremely high. And Lebanon have reached record high behind it. So for us, this is critical. So job creation, helping what we call the bottom of the pyramids. And the third element is, of course, the environment. We're talking about water usage, we're talking about fertilizers, we're talking about energy conservation, we're talking a number of factors that have an impact on the environment. And the fourth dimension, which in my mind is probably the most important one, these are people that we love to work with. They're true entrepreneurs, they have a clear vision of where they want to go. They're extremely high in terms of ethics, and trust me, this is a dimension that we need badly, not only in Lebanon, but also across the region. And they have passionate about their product, passionate about their sector, and passionate about their ability to be able to add value. So these are the companies. They're divided into different sectors, from energy production to water and irrigation, to water quality or improving the salinity of the water, to digital solutions that are applied in the agri-tech environment, to the water reuse in agriculture, and to others such as, we'll go through it. So this is the list. All of these companies, 14 of those companies have received, Michael said, in between $100,000 to $250,000 in terms of grants, and some have received technical assistance only. Those who received the grant also received technical assistance, which is basically advisory services that we have. So these are the companies. These companies are today present in 4 different countries. Next slide, please, Michael. Okay, I'm going to cover the one in Lebanon. We're going to take the question at the end on it. So this is an example of the companies that we work with. So I'll cover the one in Lebanon, and I'll let Sabine, my colleague, to cover the others that we have. Biomass is one such company. The Lebanese in the crowd would understand. Biomass is the leading organic vegetable and fruit provider in Lebanon. Now, this company has been in existence for more than 15 years. Where we're helping them is how to scale. And where is the scaling going to come from? The scaling is going to come from increasing their capacity, production capacity, and being able to increase the percentage of export. So today they're 80-20, we want to turn it around. So instead of having 20% on export, 80% local, is to have it 80% on export, 20% local behind it. The company is today generating about $4 million in revenue. They plan to do 3 times this amount in 4 years down the road, $12 million. This is scalability, this is social impact because they work with small scale farmers. And this is, of course, the social impact, the scalability, and of course, the innovation in terms of the way they interface with their end users and with their suppliers. The second example is Robinson Agri. Robinson Agri is here to optimize, to provide optimized irrigation system, but at the same time, they also provide the greenhouses and they provide the seeds behind it. Where is this transformation going to come from? It's providing end user financing. You provide end user financing to small scale rural farmers. You have the code. You have the DNA to be able to address the need and make sure that these small scale farmers are in a position to be able to use these systems, improve their production of food at a lower cost in terms of water, in terms of energy. So this is a breakthrough in terms of and this breakthrough could be used, of course, to other companies. The third one is Compost Baladi. Here, Compost Baladi, Mark is in Robinson Agri, it's Rula and Nadine. In the case of biomass, is our friend Mario. In Compost Baladi, it's Mark. Mark is distributing and producing compost, but at the same time, he's manufacturing and supplying compost production equipment, as well as providing facility, design, construction, operation. Where is his scalability going to come from? Exporting. He has the expertise. He proved it in Lebanon. How do we go? And the next step is Jordan and also across other countries across the MENA region. Hence the benefits of this, because not only are we talking MENA, not only are we talking 10 companies, not only are we talking, 15 or 16 companies every year. So over the next 4 years, and then most probably it's going to be an extension of 4 years that we have. This is across 10 countries, but you also have similar programs taking place in East Africa, in West Africa, in Central Africa, in Asia that you have. So what you do is you end up having a community of people who would partner with each other. Already the people on this slide, and we're talking 5, are already partnering among themselves in terms of providing this. So this partnership is where the synergies are coming from, and this is what we're looking for in terms of helping these companies grow. So I need to go pretty quickly. Go Baladi is the key leader in Lebanon in terms of providing non-cow or non-dairy. So this is based on goats, and goats, as you know, are extremely productive in terms of the environmental impact and also in terms of the health value to the individual. They're the leader in Lebanon, and we're helping them expand their production and at the same time adapting renewable energy. Green Essence is the leading in solar PV solution for irrigation system for small-scale farmers. As you know, this is booming. The issue here is to make sure that we have the proper alternative payment scheme for farmers, similar to Robinson Agri. You crack the code in terms of providing these end user financing solution to the farmers, you have it. So this is in summary what this portfolio is. And I'm sure that you're going to be as excited as I am, having worked with these companies for the past 8 months, as you'll be working and discovering these companies. I'm going to pass on to Sabine, my colleague, who will take you through the portfolio of companies. Oh, no, there's one more. So this is one example. I mentioned each of these companies have the data room ready. This is a small summary that we have for each of the companies. So this is what they do, how many people they impact in terms of end user. The gender equality is quite important. What is the need? In this case, it's $5 million that we have. And what is this? It's primarily used either in terms of CapEx in terms of working capital or in terms of OPEX funding that you have hiring and others that you need to do. And of course, what is their balance sheet today in 2020? We're going to have the audited one for 2021, and this is their growth projection. Now, I'm going to close before passing on to Sabine. We have 16 companies. This is our first 9 months of operation, 8 months of operations with the group, actually 12 months because we've put the foundation of the program together. We have already several companies secure $2.3 million in terms of debt or equity funding. We plan to finish this year. We only started with the program with more than $5 million to be raised. And the great news is that for these companies alone, for the selected number of companies, we have up to $25 to $30 million in terms of debt or equity needs to be raised over the next 2 years. And this is the first wave. So imagine when you put a second wave, a third wave, and more waves behind it, you have quite a substantial need and quite a substantial demand for high quality investment opportunities that have a huge social impact. Thank you. Sabine, next slide, please, Michael.
Thank you, Constantin. Thank you. In the first round of Call for Innovation, 8 Egyptian companies were selected, having a total investment need of 6 to 7 million. Shadouf, they are supplier of urban hydroponic farming kits to low-medium income households, large corporations, hotels, and other commercial facilities in Egypt. They plan to expand into adjacent markets with similar sunny, moderate climates. Kaitozan was founded to bring affordable and feasible organic solutions to the masses. They manufacture and distribute organic pesticides from shrimp shell extraction to substitute conventional chemical pesticide used in agricultural production. They aim also to expand distribution to other countries. Suaco, they provide cost-efficient wastewater treatment and reuse system to small rural communities. The first 6 months are a preparatory phase for the targeted district before transitioning into full-scale operations. Abu Erdan designs, develops, and deploys artificial intelligence-powered software for participants across the poultry value chain with a focus on small and medium farms as well as large poultry integrators in Egypt. They plan to expand to Morocco and potentially to Jordan. Baramoda produces and distributes organic compost from sugar mud and other agricultural waste in Egypt. Their products increase land fertility, agricultural yield, and help smallholder farmers to increase their profitability, maximize the efficiency of agri-waste management, and reduce excessive use of chemical fertilizer with minimum usage of water resources. Next slide, please. We still have three innovators in Egypt. Next slide. Thank you. Platform is a mobile and web app to manage farms' daily activity. They are relying on 3 sources of information: ground sensors, satellite, and daily activity records of farmers. This will allow them to promote precision agriculture and save the consumption of water and fertilizers. They plan to access more farmers in Egypt and expand to other countries. URSIC provides nanogrid for small farms in remote places in Egypt to supply the electrical loads required, as well as a range of solar PV applications. Spark Renewables provide solar PV pumping solutions and innovative financing mechanism for small to medium scale farms. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. So finally, we have 3 companies operating in Morocco and Jordan and having an investment need of 10 million. Suet leverage artificial intelligence, agronomy, and remote sensing to empower farmers with farm-adapted plot-level, precise insights that optimize their most critical operations and sustainably intensify their yields. Currently, they operate in Morocco and Tunisia, plan to further expand on-ground operations to access farmers. Hiatus Foundation is an NGO that grows trees in nurseries at a subsidized rate for farmers, cooperative associations, and education centers. The revenue from carbon credit sales is invested in the planting of native tree species that optimally sequester carbon in nurseries that are run by local organizations. They plan to deploy and manage several nurseries and plant 5 million seeds in the next 3 years. Finally, Alvatec. They provide a solar-powered water treatment technology that mitigates water and soil salinization for farms, hydroponics, and greenhouses. Also provide on-site training for farmers, demonstration for case studies and research, and end-user financing via a subscription service. They plan to expand to Jordan and other MENA countries. Next slide, please. The purpose of the EOI, slide please. The purpose of this expression of interest is to identify all potential investors who would like to invest in the MENA region in companies that will have positive social impact in their region, from gender mainstreaming to base of pyramid and environmental impact. The objective is also to identify innovative investment approaches to catalyze commercial investments in line with We4F goals. All you have to do is reach back to us by email that will be posted shortly at the end of the presentation. Next slide. As Constantin and Michael has already mentioned, we currently have 16 companies in our program that were selected after our first call for innovation. So we will continue to assist them in the coming years via the grants and technical assistance, as well as investment readiness support and match the right investors for them. Last week, we launched our call for innovations for Iraq. We are expecting to select 10 new innovators, which will get the same support as the existing ones. Next month, expected on October 14th, we will be launching the second call for innovations for the MENA region. So the total number of innovators in the region is projected to reach 50. Next slide. So if you're interested in our program and would like to become an investment partner to contribute in having positive impact in the region, please visit our website where we have posted an EOI document, expression of interest. You can have a look at it and send us by email, either directly to me or to the We4F, your pitch deck presentation and some high-level, very high-level basic information, such as expected amount to be invested, sector of interest, your country of interest, type of investment, etc. We will contact you back and we'll discuss with you any potential partnership. So we are very proud to have you all here today and would like to hear back from you in the future. Meanwhile, we are ready to answer your questions. Thank you.
Before we take the questions, I'm going to add one thing. Thank you, Sabine. Appreciate this. Also want to recognize other members of the investment team that is on the call. Nicolas clearly has started with me as the investment manager, Nicolas Farhat. We have Joël, who is also on the call. Suha, who is also on the call. All are coming in with a breadth of experience in helping companies raise fund or getting ready to raise fund, being debt or being equity. So just want to say thank you. There is now maybe one message. A number of you saying it's not only about investments. What we're keen, because this program is a multi-year program, and this program is a global program. So, and a number of you have the contacts. You have portfolio of companies that either you have funded or that you know and that you have reached. So by all means, encourage them to access the website, encourage them to access, we're going to have the application process here, because this is a unique opportunity. And our major problem is to make sure that this program is visible to as many people. And you are the best ambassadors possible for reaching out to your network, to your contact, and you have the email address that Sabine has communicated to you. We have, of course, a website that is being ready. So this is one, is reach out. The second one is that you might find that some of the companies here are of interest, but you have questions or you have reservations. This is exactly where we're here for. This is exactly where the grants are here for. This is exactly where the TA are here for, is that we will adapt whatever alternative or creative financing option you're considering to these specific companies. So this flexibility is here, and probably if you ask us what makes us unique, is to be able to adapt to your need in terms of finding out how we can work together in helping those companies succeed. Because at the end of the day, as you well understood, the social impact of these, we're talking about tens of thousands, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people that would be impacted positively by it. And this is what's critical. Michael even mentioned million, and I know our donors would love to have it by millions on it, but this is what we are aiming at over the next 4 to 8 years. So this is my message, just to wrap up what Sabine has just said, and to give you the time to raise your questions. So please feel free to raise your hand or to write in the chat box. We're here to be able to answer as many of your questions as possible, and we have 20 minutes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Constantin. Thank you very much, Sabine. So if you have any questions, please write them into the chat. Let us start with the chat questions first, and then we can move on into direct interactions. Maybe I've already seen one question that is out there. Someone wrote, whether he missed the Iraq innovators, but no, you did not miss the Iraq innovators, because we don't have yet any innovators from Iraq, but we have an ongoing call right now where we are planning to onboard another 10 Iraqi enterprises in the near future. So if you're especially interested in that cohort, you're of course much more than welcome to come back to us. But for the Q&As, I would like to hand the Q&As over to Hannah, and she will actually manage all of the questions. Hannah, over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Michael. Thank you, Sabine and Constantin, for the great presentation, and thanks to everyone for being here. So now this is the time where you can ask us all of your burning questions about the EOI for investors. On this note, I've also shared the link about where you can find the EOI document on our website in the chat. I'm going to do so again later, so you don't lose it in the flood of messages. And I would encourage every one of you to please post your messages in the chat, so then I can take them and post them to Constantin and Sabine. So let's start with the first message that came in from Rami, and the question is as follows. Encouraging a local company for food to shift from 20/80 local export to 80/20 export local may often lead to keeping the lowest quality of the company products to the local market while exporting the best quality of the export. This was well seen in South America and probably in other areas of the world. This defeats the aim of improving local quality of life. Please clarify.
Okay, let me maybe take it. In some ways, I know that some of the questions are related to the companies. It would have been great to have the CEOs of these companies. But in general, Rami, on this, trust me, if a company has low quality product in a country, this is immediately impacting their brand. And their brand is not only a local brand, it affects their brand because, as you know, you want to export to Dubai, you have produced goods in Lebanon that are poor quality. This is automatically all the Lebanese in Dubai or in the Emirates would know. So what we as a program emphasize to make sure that we have all these trackers in terms of KPI to ensure that these quality standards are met, to ensure that we have the proper certification that is taking place, and a number of the TAs are around getting the certification. And this certification doesn't only apply to local product, it's applied to all product being produced. So we are, through the TAs, through the grants, through the advisory services being provided, we want to ensure that the quality of these products are as well and as best in class, not only in terms of local, but also in terms of export. And the reason why I mentioned export is primarily because today in Lebanon, the situation is such that because of the what I call competitive cost structure, you have a tendency to be able to go and save the country in some ways. One of the dimensions is to be able to use our core competencies, not only in agriculture, not only in compost, not only industrial, in order to be able to compete internationally at a very cost-effective rate. So quality is key. The way we ensure it is that we track it. The way we ensure it is we provide the TAs to be able to help on it so as to guarantee the same level of quality for local product versus for export product. Thank you for the question, Rami.
Okay, thank you so much, Constantin. The next question is from Raed. For the call for investments for Iraq, what is meant by tenor of 12 months? Is this the time allowed to build the portfolio or reflow as well?
Michael, Sabine. Should I answer it? Okay, can you repeat the question, please? I want to make sure I understood it.
Sure. For the call of investments for Iraq, what is meant by tenor of 12 months? Is this the time allowed to build the portfolio or reflow as well? Okay, now what I indicated, it's not only for Iraq, it's across all the different countries that we have. To make sure I understood your question, what we do is we select companies. So you have, in the example for the one that we had in the MENA, we had about more than 200 applications. Out of this, we have selected about 16 applications. What we take those companies over a period of 12 months, and we go through all the elements that I've described you. So this is the tenure. The 12 months is the whole process of investment readiness, of investment management, of investment brokerage, of the TA, and of the other dimension that we have in the program, the grants. These are milestone-based grants for 12 months that we continue. And then we have another wave of companies coming in, and this is the call for application that we have. Already you will get the information for. So these 12 months is the process that we take the company and make sure that they are ready to be able to either scale or meet with investors and be able to raise funds. Now, what's important to mention, it's not only 12 months, because a number of the companies will continue working with them. So what will happen, if you look at 3 years down the road, we might still have companies that we're helping them to raise maybe their second round of equity funding, and they're coming from the first wave of 2 years ago. We would have companies of last year that are also going through the process, and we'll have new companies coming in. So it doesn't mean that after 12 months, you just let go. After 12 months, we are focusing on other companies, but at the same time, we ensure that we have a certain level of support to allows you to be able to meet the target that we have agreed together. Because those targets are target not only for 12 months, they're target over the next 3 years, and they target not only financials, but social impact and other measures. So the program is here for 12 months in terms of all the in-depth hand-holding, but afterwards it becomes on a consultative basis with those companies at a per need basis. Thank you. Thank you so much, Constantin. So next we have a question from Sahin, who's asking, he invented a water-powered pump, which does not need any electric energy and petroleum products. Instead, only uses kinetic energy of the stream. And he is asking if it's possible for him to get any grant.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, maybe I can come in on this one. Yes, we will have we have 2 calls now that are upcoming. One which is running, which is especially for Iraq, and we have our next regional call that is upcoming in a couple of months. So for that one, you're more than welcome to apply, and you will go through that rigorous selection process that Constantin mentioned. Now, important for you to know is that we can only support enterprises that actually work and implement their solutions in those 10 countries I've mentioned before. That's Morocco, Algeria, and so on. I think you're from Turkey. Turkey is not one of them, but that doesn't stop you to actually work together with us as long as your solution and your innovation is being implemented in one of those countries we have mentioned before. So yes, please apply for that, but please remember that it has to be in those 10 MENA countries that we are focusing on.
Now, there is one question, Hannah and Michael, it's in Arabic, so I'm going to read it and I'm going to answer it. Actually, the program is available not only in English, it's also in French-speaking countries, it's also in Arabic. We just launched Iraq, it's also available in, I forgot the other language. Michael, Hannah?
Kurdish,
absolutely Kurdish. I'm going to be grilled now. So it's going to be available in Kurdish. So what we do is we adapt the program to the local language. So Rima الزوبي موجودة باللغة العربية وموجودة كمان باللغة الفرنسوية وكل اللغات. So depending the country that you base, we have country coordinators. These country coordinators are of course completely adapted to the local language. So yes, it is available. Our dear friend Zena has asked the question in terms of we do have the contact details. We have the description of all these 16 companies. It's available. It's on the website. Hannah, you want maybe to comment, or Michael, on this one, on the description of these companies?
Yes, definitely. So, of course, we're happy to send more information. The easiest way to receive this is just to respond to the solicitation for EOI for investors. And then we're going to be breaking down all of the information about the innovators for you, of course. But initially, you can already find it on the We4F website if you click the header innovators. I'm going to link this in a second.
And maybe the message, Zena is working actively with the LIFE. This is the Lebanese International Finance Executive. This is the diaspora. I'm convinced that a number of the LIFE members are business angels, might be interested in some of these companies. So Zena, by all means, we're more than happy to conduct a special session on those portfolio companies whenever you feel it's the right time for your audience, as I know that you have been very active in supporting and in funding also innovative SMEs in the country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. We have one more question from Eli, who's asking about compost baladi, and he wants to know if this is industrial grade composting, and if so, what are the solutions to the energy restrictions in Lebanon?
Okay, I don't know who is going to volunteer. You know, I like to always put Suha on the spots, but she's going to, because Suha is the country coordinator for Lebanon. Hannah and Michael, any one of you before I pass on to, Ahmed, go ahead, Ahmed.
I can help with that. So no, I assure you, this is national local innovation. They build the units. This is slight energy. They don't use external energy sources except for very little electricity consumption on aeration. So these units, and now they are covering it solar. So the other part, this is also, I would say, dry fermentation. So they don't consume water and they don't consume energy. So sorry, I didn't introduce myself, but I'm the technical assistance manager for the project. And thank you for the question. It's no energy, no water input to the system.
Great, thank you so much, Ahmed, for swooping in. Now we have another question here from Raed. How do we channel these funds and work the implementation and financial closure? Do you require a local vehicle such as a PE financier? How do you overcome the AML, I assume this is anti-money laundering, if transferring to local banks?
Okay, the process we go through is a process that we're here to facilitate the discussion between the investor and between the innovator, i.e. the company that we've been working with. So if you want each investor have their own process in terms of due diligence, legal, fiscal, financial, technical, they go through. What we try to do is we try to prepare the companies as much as possible in advance. So when the investor come in, there is already a lot of information being provided. So this data room is not created as the investor come in. We have a number of the documents in the data room available. So to answer your question, each investor would have their own ways of deciding what is critical for them on all the matters that you have raised. So what we do is we reach out to them, understand, and if there are elements in it that today we're not prepared, how can we work together with the investor and with the innovator in order to be addressed? Because there might be a gap, there might be several gaps, but this is fine. We think we've done a good job, but we probably have more gaps that we need to be addressing. No problem. Let's work together. We have those grants, we have those TAs to be able to address whatever issues or whatever more detailed studies needed or feasibility study is needed. So we are not the one investing, we're facilitating the transaction between the investor and between the innovator. I hope I answered the question right.
Yes, thanking you for your thoughtful answers in the chat. So I assume that that is a yes. All right, next we have another question from Nasser, who's asking whether we would be able to briefly outline the forms of TA that We4Food can offer. I think, Ahmed, this is your moment again.
Hannah, can you repeat the question, please?
Whether it would be possible for us to outline the forms of TA that We4Food, TA technical assistance that We4Food can offer.
Sure. So this is Ahmed Hussein from Chemonics Egypt, the technical assistance manager for the project. So we really have, I would say, assistance. We have it in different modalities. One modality is continuous one-on-one support on technical aspects, on gender, on environmental investment readiness, and a series of workshops. In addition, we have about 2 to 3 consultancy projects that are offered to each firm, and it is according to the firm needs. So far, we have things related to market studies, end user finance, financial modeling, cash flow management, technical design and prototyping of solar inverters, investment readiness, if it is becoming a very big and consuming effort, we can have it almost as a consultancy project. Gender mainstreaming, environmental impact studies. I would say whatever is needed in terms of services and advisory can be a topic of technical assistance. It is decided in very close cooperation with the innovator. The other part is that the delivery can be done by the consortium members. It can be done by regional or international service providers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. Constantin, I don't see any further questions right now, and we're almost at the end of the allocated hour. So if you would like to say some concluding remarks, this would be the time.
First, I want to thank you and Michael and Sabine and Ahmed for being with us on this. As you know, we're very excited. Hopefully, this excitement and this passion is transmitted in terms of the way we describe this project. I'll be very frank. Once you get to know these companies, they end up not only being companies that we're supporting, but they end up being like family. And this is a bit the community. So a number of people on the team are also working together. This family spirit, this in terms of sharing common values, we also have it with the companies, and this for us is extremely exciting because not only you're doing something which is very exciting and challenging intellectually, but you're doing it in the time of a crisis like we have never faced before. I'm talking as a Lebanese, but I know we have very tough situation across the MENA region. When we're looking at youth unemployment, when we look at level of poverty, when we look at the impact on the environment, when we look at gender equality, when we look at having successful companies being able to export, all of those are challenges that are faced across the region. I believe that this program is one of many programs that is trying to attempt to address those challenges. So we're very excited, and I'm convinced that when you're going to reach out and when you're going to start talking to us and talking to the companies, inshallah, that you might be interested in working with, you will share this excitement. So it's life at the end of the day is a wonderful journey. But what makes it even more wonderful is that if you do something that you really enjoy, and at the same time you align it with your spirituality, and at the same time you're making an impact to the community, trust me, you've reached what I call a meaningful life. So I want to wish you all well. I want to thank you for being with us, and I hope that we have a chance to talk to many of you in the days or in the weeks to come. Sabine has put her website. Hannah is also putting the emails that you have to reach out to us. Feel free to do so. We'll respond. We'll arrange one-on-one session with every one of you. We'll go into more details in terms of these companies, and we'll be more than happy to introduce those companies to you. Thank you again, and all the very best to all of you. Michael, any few words?
Yes, thank you very much for this session, well in time. So just again, for the next step ahead of you, right? So if you're interested in this program, if you're interested in our portfolio of enterprises that we have at the moment, then please, if you are an investor, please reach out to Sabine. I have put up her email address again here in the window. So reach out to her just with a short email stating your interest. She will contact you, and then we can arrange more meeting. If you are an innovator, don't contact Sabine, but check our newsletters, check our updates and our website. The new call for innovations for the whole region will come up in about in 2 months, and then you're more than welcome to apply for it. So if you're an investor or you want to invest and partner up with you, please contact Sabine. If you're an innovator, please subscribe our newsletter, and we will inform you accordingly when the next call will come out. If you're an innovator in Iraq, then hurry up. The call is open right now, and we're looking forward to applications for Iraqi innovators at the moment, and we'll be closing that in a couple of weeks, and then select 10 enterprises. So with that, I would like to close this session. We are, of course, looking very much forward to you, that you partner up with us and that you help us shape this very important topic with bright innovators and entrepreneurs that really want to make an impact in their field in the MENA region. Thank you very much, and have a nice evening to all of you. Bye-bye.